Hey there, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the first episode of my new podcast, Ram on the Rocks. Just as a quick heads up, this discussion is largely about horror games, and you can expect to hear adult language, some discussion about body and psychological horror, as well as some discussion revolving around sexual themes, some of which may be potentially triggering. This discussion will also contain some light spoilers for Silent Hill 2 and its remake, as well as some fairly heavy spoilers for Bloodborne. Just wanted to give a fair warning before getting into it. This is not one for the kids, but I do hope that you enjoy. Well, good afternoon and evening. This is Ram on the Rocks. This is a little bar that we have started in the middle of a Sega Dreamcast's random access memory. Just kind of tucked away out here. It's not a lot of room. There's like 16 megabytes, but did us just fine back in the day, so we make do. I'm sorry.
That's a clever name.
I thought it was cute.
I didn't figure out what RAM was because I thought you were talking about goats. And then.
So I was thinking about goats, but I was also a little concerned because my mind immediately went to, sounds eerily similar to Ram Ranch, but you know what? I'm just not going to worry about it.
Is Ram Ranch like hot dude ramen?
Yeah. Oh, man. I'll send you something later. Anyway.
You lucky dog.
Anyway, I'm your host, Wayne. I own the Wayne is Boss channel. And I am joined by my wonderful friends, if you two would like to introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Stevie.
Hi, I'm Nick. I own nothing.
You remember that old classic bit from Sunset City? You remember that funny old?
Oh, no, you're just introducing each other as each other.
Yeah, we were so funny. I'm Nick.
Yeah.
I'm Stevie.
What do you two do?
I talk about Sonic on the internet.
I am a senior video games artist.
Yeah, it wasn't. Let's not gonna mess with everybody.
Let me pull rank.
Yeah, I think you got us beat a little bit on that one. Stevie here is actually the designer of my current avatar design, and we were just talking about it. Probably gonna get her to, if she's willing, I'd like to commission her to do a new version of this little PNG thing that I've got going here, because I'm super out of practice, and I gotta get my groove back with the art stuff.
I would genuinely love to. I love working in those oranges and yellows. They're so much fun.
Yeah, I enjoy a lot of that. I actually almost gave my little guy a little orange tie. I'm not sure why I changed my mind, but I might go back on that.
It's Halloween.
Well, yes, Halloween. It's because it's Halloween. Man, it's
such a Halloweeny.
I should have put up Halloween decorations, but we're in the middle of remodeling. This is not the final set for this bar. I've got other plans for that. But
is there going to be like bar noises here?
I could certainly add some. Yeah,
that'd be fun. That'd be cool. All right, I'm sorry. I'm going to stop interrupting.
No. By all means. Honestly, like some bar noises. I might add a little bit of music, something chill, just kind of for the background.
Ooh.
Yeah, it would be fun. It would be fun. The way that this podcast is going to work is that this is just something that I wanted to kind of provide something, especially for Patreon supporters during the downtime between the larger video projects that I'm working on now, since so many of the videos that I work on now are just much bigger and take a lot longer to work on than stuff that I used to work on. I'm not entirely sure how the release format is going to work just yet. As of right now, the plan is that for top tier Patreon supporters, this video will be available for you first. And within that first week, it will go live for the rest of the members on Patreon, including free members. So if you're on the Patreon in any form or another, like, this show will be available. I'm kind of thinking that after that week period, it might go up on YouTube. I'm not 100% sure yet. I'm kind of working out some of the details, but this was going to be a much simpler thing, but then I kept getting excited about all the ideas that I had for it, and I'm thinking about making it just a little bit bigger. So we'll kind of work out the rest of that as it goes. The one thing that is definitely set in stone is that this will be Patreon first. Like, especially top tier Patreon supporters will get this podcast every month at like a week in advance.
Well, heck yeah, brother. That's pretty cool. Stevie and I accidentally kind of stole your idea because you told me you were going to do a podcast a while ago for Patreon support, and I was kind of like batting around the idea myself for mine because I'm kind of trying to move away from like the 5-minute long outro thing I do for reads and stuff.
Yeah.
And I hadn't really planned on doing anything until Stevie was just casually like, yeah, we should get on, because we constantly talk about getting on a call to record for Patreon or something. And she's like, you just gotta talk about Sonic Generations. And I said, heck yeah. And then just turned into that as well. So thank you for letting me steal your idea.
Well, I mean, I can't take too much credit. This was taken essentially from, I wanted to do this back on Sunset City anyway, as a more casual thing.
Yeah, you did.
And then like, because I'm a Patreon supporter for Nitro Rad, and like I see him update that he does like a monthly podcast for Patreon like every month, and for some reason I just never registered it. So one day I saw it, I was just like, wait, why don't I just do that?
Yeah, spoiler alert, a lot of YouTubers do monthly podcasts.
Yeah.
I listen to a drag show, and it's every Sunday, and I think it's a great reward.
Yeah, I thought it'd be fun. Yeah, especially since like there's so many friends I would like to get on to talk about like certain things.
Sure.
Anyway, I know the big topic for today is definitely going to be, I want to talk about some spooky stuff, some horror games and things like that. Which I think, Stevie, that might be a little more in your wheelhouse.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys remember Pumpkin Hill from Sonic Adventure 2?
Shut up, nerd. Big gamers are talking to her now. Move a fucking side.
Do you remember the haunted house from Klonoa 2?
I sure do. Oh, buddy, I sure do.
Yeah, he closed his eyes during.
Admission.
That's what I stay in bed.
Good lord.
Eyelids stay closed during.
Actually, very embarrassing. When I was younger, my family made a trip over to Disney World in Florida.
Where's the story going?
And and I was scared by the Haunted Mansion ride, and I had like my eyes closed for like half the thing. I don't know what was so intimidating to me about that, because nothing ever was ever again. But
I don't know if this is on the same par of you or maybe a little worse, but there was an arcade on the seaside near me, and it had House of the Dead, and it was the logo that frightened me, and I would run past it because the logo of House of the Dead was too scary for me.
Oh, yeah, no, I especially when you're a kid, like the small things like that can just kind of like warp your brain.
Just this creepy hand reaching out to this guy was like, that is too spooky. Too spooky for me.
I love dinosaurs. They scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. Like those animatronic ones.
Oh, I believe it.
Couldn't handle it. Went into a museum, turned a corner, and there's just a T-Rex head. It was supposed to be like a life-size T-Rex head, and it just looked like a decapitated T-Rex with its dead eye staring at me.
Wow.
Ran away.
That's just your caveman kind of,
Exactly.
DNA kicking in there, just going like,
Predator, I am in danger.
Yeah.
Well, that's
I'm not a baby.
a friend and I were just talking yesterday. Like when I was a kid, I was watching Disney's Hercules. It's always Disney. But the Hydra weirded me out as a kid. Like it freaked me out because I had never seen that kind of integration between like a 3D animated monster in with like the rest of the 2D, and it moved so differently that it just like freaked me out. I didn't understand what I was looking at.
No, I totally get that. Not quite the same, but there's one like stop motion monster from The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh,
that
yeah.
frightened me too much. It was the snakehead thing. The way his head flapped up and down. I was like, no, something about that ain't Christian. I don't like it.
I was going to ask because I had some fun ideas for the discussion on horror titles, but I was going to ask. I mean, hey, we're a week away now from Sonic and Shadow Generations coming out, or I mean, let's be real, Shadow the Hedgehog 2 with a side of a Sonic Generations remaster. Did we have anything that we wanted to talk about in regards to that?
He's my boyfriend.
Shadow?
Oh my god.
Shadow's my boyfriend.
Oh,
I bought the collector's edition for a game I previously didn't like just because my boyfriend's in it now in a bigger way.
Yeah, I bought the collector's edition too. I thought I was going to hold out. I waited until the last day, and it was about to go away, and I was just like,
Same, brother. High five.
I want that jewel case. Because they did the same thing. Limited Run had a physical edition for the PSVR Space Channel 5 game. And it also comes with a Dreamcast jewel case with like the artwork and everything. And I have that. And I'm just like, well, and I'm collecting for the Dreamcast anyway, so I'm just going for it, I guess.
See, it's just my damn dirty European blood where I'm like, it shouldn't be orange, it should be blue.
Oh my god, there it is. There it is.
I can't help it. It's just blue to me because that start screen, how it's so tranquil and stuff. To me, it feels like tranquil, so I think blue. And also, I don't know why, it just Echo the Dolphin. It just should be blue.
Nah, I can see
Why
that.
are you mad? It should be blue because Echo is blue.
Oh, there's a horror game, Defender of the Future. Good God.
Oh, that's the original Dark Souls. The Hanging Waters, that's pure terror.
Hanging Waters fascinates me because I think that is a beautiful, like, kind of mesmerizing set piece, and it's something that they clearly took from, I want to say it was Tides of Time, but kind of realized it in a 3D setting. But that game is terrifying the further you get into it. Like, the deeper into the ocean you go, the more messed up it is.
Oh, just like the when you go to the future where, was it like compassion isn't a part of the kind of like DNA of the dolphins, and it's just this kind of like roaring metal machine. You get like a brand. It's like, I was a happy dolphin. Now it's really a bit intense in here.
Those games are wild, dude.
I love them.
Obviously, I'm partial to the orange with the Dreamcast myself. I think that orange being a big part of like the American, and I want to say also the Japanese marketing for that. It probably helps kind of instill why that's my favorite color now. That was like one of the many factors. Yeah. That's why my Dreamcast is orange. But how are we feeling hype-wise about Sonic and Shadow?
I'm exceptionally excited. Exceptionally.
I'm open to it, which is an improvement for me because I was a bitter wench about the original generations.
Oh yeah,
I'm open to the experience. Yeah,
that was our podcast conversation was about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Except that's the title. I'm a bitter wench about Sonic Generations.
I'm a bitter, crusty wench about Sonic Generations.
Well, I don't want to take away too much from that discussion. I would honestly just recommend anybody from this audience maybe go check you out. I might just have to throw a couple dollars towards your Patreon to hear it, but I think they can live with that.
Thank you, sir. You'll buy me a new batch of hay.
Wayne, you throw me $5. I say your name every episode.
I sometimes forget that I give you money.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna listen to it, obviously. I'm just saying for anybody else here.
Oh my god. Thanks.
But yeah, in short, like Stevie, I am curious. Like, what were some of your misgivings about the original generations?
It's completely emotional based. It was just where I was in that point of time of loving Sonic, and it was just, I love Sonic Adventure. I love Sonic Adventure 2. Heroes happened. Shadow happened. I was not happy with the state of 3D Sonic, and I was mad that I just saw it as kind of go with Christ. I was mad with that. It was going back and saying, oh, we're celebrating, we're being at 2D Sonic. I was like, no, you need to get a house in order, and you need to make 3D fun again because you've missed the boat for a few years now.
I can understand that. I will say that something about Generations coming back now almost feels more fitting now that it kind of feels like Sega's kind of got back to the swing of Sonic. Like, I've been a lot happier with their output with that franchise in the past couple of years. I had a couple of grievances too, don't get me wrong, but like, it just feels like they I don't want to say they care more now, but
they got more people on there that do.
Yeah.
And the like.
There's consistency.
I think in Flynn, like, you got people that grew up genuinely passionate about it instead of just the old guard churning out the same uninspired crap over and over again.
And it feels like they have some legitimate ideas for this as well. Like, I honestly thought that the tie-in, like that 3-part animation, the Dark Beginnings thing for Shadow Generations, I thought that was really well done.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, I also got a little bit of just very personal joy from hearing Casey Lee Williams in the final song, being a longtime Ruby fan, and seeing that whole franchise just degrade over time. It was nice. It's nice to see some of the crew from that are still getting out there and doing stuff. Recognized her voice immediately. It was nice to hear.
Yeah, this is solid shore. I think we're all on the same page of, I would like that, but more, please. Please and thank you.
Yeah, give me that over the... I didn't really care for Sonic Prime all that much, so I would much prefer something closer to... Maybe not so much the tone of the Dark Beginnings. I think that works great for Shadow, but definitely on that level of quality.
I mean, I take Nick Cole's designs from Prime, because I think he... Like the sausage fingers, he fixed the sausage fingers. Thank you for fixing the horrible sausage fingers, but with that kind of animation quality and vision of a Shadow would be sick.
Yeah, if I can give any props to Prime, I think that the two things that it did the best were like its visual presentation and its voice cast. I think that
totally.
That's my favorite Shadow voice actor. I'll say. Honestly, it's one of my favorite Sonics. Like just in terms of voice. Like the
entire cast
is Rouge in
it.
Oh,
yes,
so perfect.
I could do without Vanilla Universe Knuckles.
Yeah.
Yeah. I miss SA2 Knuckles.
Yeah. Or I want
don't.
the voice actor for Shadow Man to be Knuckles there. I've said it, and I'm right. I'm so right. Needs to be Red Pepper.
Yeah.
Welcome everyone to Sunset City 2.
Oh no.
But better. There's a girl now. We got over our misogyny.
That'd be the best way to deal with the stupid jokes. Replace them with a girlish British.
I'm a man of war.
Yeah, we have a woman on the podcast, and it's not just in the form of a punchline. I think that's progress.
Isn't it just? Isn't it just?
Yeah. I don't want to throw too many stones towards Sunset. We had some great times over there, but it is like
burn it all down.
Well.
Burning down the house.
I think definitely for my own sake, I definitely wanted something that felt a little bit more laid back, and something. I don't want to say something that felt a little more professional, but
something
Come
where you can hold a conversation. Is that what you're trying to say? I guess.
Yeah.
Because if you do something like that, I would love that. I want this to be an ongoing thing. I want to hear you just chat with some bros.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, a little bit more of a relaxed vibe, not being interrupted every 5 minutes.
I think. Yeah.
The bar is really working. We're at therapy now.
Yep.
Oh.
That's the name of the next Sonic podcast. Rat Therapy.
Okay, let me grab the clipboard real quick.
There we go.
Oh man, but yeah, Sonic and Shadow. I'm excited. I did want to ask because I haven't really discussed with anybody about this the Telios skin. Have you guys seen that in action?
Oh yeah.
I like it. I'm glad we got the Shadow that we did, but I think it's neat.
I think it's really cute. I think it's nice to celebrate it. It's very charming. I like that his quills are down because it's different.
I like that too. It feels so 2000s edgy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the long-haired guy. Like, I don't know. Something about that just works.
I like that they even put the definition in his arm.
Oh, I love it. I love it. It's so
God.
just like, hey, it's not really a thing, but I'm very, very, very fond of it.
I'm very fond it exists. It does make me thankful we don't live in a universe where that became Sonic's dark rifle, because I really do think he would have stayed dead.
I think so too. I'm glad we got the shadow we got. Nick, after taking after you, I went to Target and got one of those like movie shadow like figures. First of all, for $15, great quality.
Yeah, I mean for real. I mean, Stevie, you got one too recently too.
I finally got one, and I got his mini son as well. Yeah, and they're great. The glass size is beautiful.
Yeah, they're. I if I did more figure reviews, and I kind of thinking about it, it's wild to me. Like it's like Jack Specific has been like quietly stepping up their game compared to, because like I collect Ninja Turtles, you know, that kind of stuff. Compare like Hasbro and Playmates where they're doing the regular stuff. Ninja Turtle stuff tends to degrade in quality the longer a particular line stays out, especially compared to like higher end collectibles, because TMNT survives halfway because of the adult collector market. So there's a lot of, you know, more adult and collector style figures. But like the basic line market, like Jack Specific was always considered, at least in my opinion, like a budget line for like the more obscure licenses, but they've quietly been like putting out like top tier quality figures. And I think the Sonic 3 figures are the very best of the bunch they've ever done.
I want to go grab Sonic to go with it. Like I was like, if I have to get one, it's gonna be Shadow, but like I do want the Sonic.
Yeah, I think I need to pick up a Knuckles from like, you know, the last line or something, because I'm
Wave 2. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I do like the Knuckles design for the movies a lot too.
I love that he's wearing Tim's. I love he's got Tim.
Yeah, I do like the. I think one of the best things that ever happened was the backlash to that initial trailer, so we could get Tyson Hess to come on board and give them some notes.
Thank you, Tyson, for everything you do. Thank you very, very much. Thank you.
I do apologize. I don't mean to. Yeah, we are. No, that's. It's okay, Nick. It's okay. You can just say it. It has been 20 minutes of Sonic.
I do love Sonic. This is what I always talk about. What about them scary games?
Yeah. So,
isn't that the scariest thing? Just always.
I'm still trying to course correct. It's not my show, and also I don't play scary games. This should be interesting.
Well,
hey, Wayne, I'm enjoying your podcast. Go for it.
I'm sorry.
I'm enjoying your podcast, Wayne. Go for it.
Go for it.
So yeah, where it comes to the scary games, because I had some kind of fun ideas with that. I did want to like talk a little bit about one game in particular, just because I wanted to discuss like some of our favorite horror games. And there's a title that's been on my mind that I already know Stevie and I would in definitely one form or another choose as one of our favorites. And Nick, I believe you're still working on your first playthrough of Silent Hill 2. Is that right?
That is correct.
How far did you get?
Well, Stevie's been joining me on that journey. I got it on an Xbox emulator, so we just get on Discord and just been playing through it.
Oh, so you're playing the better version?
Yes. I mean, I specifically went on my way for the better version. Like I don't know if you, another tangent here, sorry. I don't know if you watch Good Vibe Gamings at all, but something John Cartwright said recently, and I was thankful somebody finally said it. Because this happens when you're with Sonic stuff a lot of the time. When they talk about that generation, GameCube is usually the go-to source for like Sonic Heroes, Shadow Generation, or Shadow, all that stuff.
Right.
And he just said in a video about the original Xbox, like, why don't people use Xbox more often for third-party stuff? It's usually the better quality version, and that is the case for most third-party games. I've always kind of went towards the original Xbox during that generation because it was just known, and I was very lucky enough to eventually get all three systems. So when I would do my game collecting, the obvious choice was Xbox. So, yes, Silent Hill 2, and this was weird because I mentioned it somewhere. I don't know what conversation I was having, but somebody didn't even realize it was on the original Xbox.
No.
That's a shame. It comes with the extra Born from a Wish scenario, which is really cool.
It does.
Do we know if the remake has that?
It has a reference to it, and it made me a little sad that it's like an hour-long campaign. I would have liked for it just to be there.
DLC, baby.
Well, I was joking with a friend. I was just saying, we know it's a 1-year timed exclusive. They'll release the Xbox version next year and release it as the Silent Hill 2 Restless Dreams.
I would love that.
Can you imagine?
And then they'll do a greatest hits version for the PS5 that will have it on there, but it's only on the greatest hits version.
Is that what happened with the PS2 version?
Yes, the greatest hits version. It is not marketed this way, but because it's not called Restless Dreams or anything.
Interesting. I didn't know that part.
Yeah, the red label greatest hits version of Silent Hill 2 for the PlayStation 2 has Born from a Wish.
So this might not work as well with PS2, but for a while I was watching a lot of when I was really getting ramped up my game collecting. I'm trying to finally whittle it down. But I've always loved watching how people kind of curate their collections, and I think it was either Radical Reggie or one of the crew of Metal Jesus Rocks, who would take the red cases from PS3 games, the greatest hits for those, and would just use those for his horror games. And I thought that was so clever. And the greatest hits, because it's a red band on the PS2, it's like, man, if we had red DVD cases, I think that would have been pretty fitting for Silent Hill 2 greatest hits. That would have been really cool.
Yeah, I did. I did the same thing with Bloodborne and the Doom games on the PS4.
Oh, maybe it's PS4. It's PS4, not 3.
Right. Well, no, PS3 also had the red.
I'm getting them all mixed up, man. All right.
No. You're on the right track. I know what you're talking about because I've got a coworker who actually shared the same story, and that's why he does it.
That's interesting.
Yeah, he was also talking about he got the idea from Metal Jesus Rocks, and it's mostly for horror games. But I did find especially Doom 2016, the flip over cover for that looks immaculate with that red case.
I believe it. Yeah, absolutely. Believe it. And I mean, my color obsession, I'm not above that at all. Still to this day, if an Xbox version of a physical game exists, I will go for it. That's because that's just what I want to do. I'm so ridiculously obsessive about it. There's a new Ninja Turtles game coming out. The special edition is only on PS5, so I'm getting that version. But eventually, when it becomes a budget title, because it will, I'm going to get the Xbox version just to have. I want a full, complete green case Ninja Turtle video game collection.
You just reminded me, they restocked Bomb Rush on I Am 8-Bit, and I need to order that Xbox version.
Yes, you do.
I got the vinyl finally.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I adored that game to pieces.
It's like Legacy too, right? Sometimes you just it just feels right being in a certain case. It's a different game. And it's a different generation of system. Well, hey man, Legacy's there.
Well, it's also because I got all the achievements on Steam. I got all the trophies on PS5, and now I just need to get all the achievements on Xbox.
Brother.
If Nintendo could get it together and create an achievement system, I would do it on that too, because I own the Switch version too. So
perfect.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, and that was my favorite game that came out that year. I will go all out for Bomb Rush.
It was wonderful. It was great. I'm a huge fan of Future, and I kind of always get bummed when people only speak about Grind. I'm like, Jet Set Future though is fucking so sick. It's sick when people slept on it too much.
And I think honestly, Bomb Rush did a great job kind of integrate it. The hideout is just the headquarters from Jet Set Radio Future.
It's great.
Yeah. I mean, that is nothing but a compliment, but it felt like it was a great mix of things from Jet Grind Radio, Jet Set Radio Future, but also it's so much of its own thing too. It definitely takes a lot of inspiration from the Pro Skater games and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But then it's
a better handling game compared to the Jet Set series as far as I'm concerned. I think it's amazing.
I adore both of the Jet Set games. I adore 2 out of 3 of the Jet Set games. I think the Game Boy Advance game is neat, but it handles booty butt water. But the actual mainline games I love, but I have trained myself with the way those control. Bomb Rush actually controls well.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I remember the original, because like everyone was talking about Jet Set Radio or Jet Grind Radio when it was coming out. Well, at least if you're paying attention to like Sega magazines and stuff, because like that was just their push. Like that was the unique Dreamcast game, and I love the art style, and it looked really cool. And then I played it, and I was like, because Tony Hawk was already out, and it had already just kind of Call of Duty it, you know, like for that genre. It popularized it, and then it just kind of made the general control scheme for what you'd want. And Jet Grind was I don't know, I do want to go back and try it, but to keep it on Sega, and if you're okay with me doing a little bit of a transition, I did want to actually mention a horror game I tried recently, and I wanted your guys' thoughts on it because I do not see anybody talking about it. But I finally put in my copy of the House of the Dead remake for the Switch.
Oh, what did you think? Like, I'm a huge original House of the Dead fan. Like, I've played them all the way through. What was it? There was Double Shotgun 1. But I'm a huge, like, 1 and 2 person. Like, you've seen me at an arcade where I'm like, I need a card.
Yeah.
So I want to know what you think of that.
Yeah, we played a House of the Dead game we'd never even heard of. That was weird. Anyway, what was I saying? So, I thought it was okay. I only played a level. I mean, I just beat that first boss. I appreciate it existing. It did make me wish that the original was just available on that machine, because I don't think the arcade version's available in any kind of home release at all. I've heard they've lost the source code.
You can only get them on like those, I can't remember what they're called, explosive PS, like PC releases.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah, like you can get that way. That's how I used to play at home. With House of the Dead 2, I'm pretty sure you can get them on an Xbox, but that's it.
Well, I mean, yeah, like House of the Dead 2 was on Dreamcast, of course, and then it was re-released, I think, as a tie-in with House of the Dead 3, or the Wii, no, I'm thinking of at least the Wii re-release, House of the Dead 2 and 3. But I wanted to bring this up because this generation kind of made me realize peripherals have all but disappeared. I can't imagine playing this game without the touchscreen of the Switch, because I played it on my Switch Lite, and I can't comprehend another console version of this unless like you have like maybe VR, if that exists.
Oh, that would be kind of a fun a VR like House of the Dead game would actually be really neat. Yeah,
I just heard this game was bad, but like it just played like the old game, just with a coat of paint on it. It didn't run super great in portable mode, but it was fine.
I think I bounced off of it because I had the same kind of problem with it that I did with the remake of Panzer Dragoon, which is the art isn't the way I imagined it, I guess.
Yeah.
Too cooked. There's just too much when I think
too much warm light everywhere. Am I wrong there?
I just feel like the art direction's a little bit off, and like when we were having our discussion in your podcast, Nick, like I've told you, I can go very hot and very cold off of a game and bounce very fast if it does something I don't like. And I just didn't like the art direction. I just didn't like it.
I mean, we joke. Sorry, go ahead, Wayne.
I was just gonna say that's I understand the sentiment, because that's an issue that I have with a lot of like remasters and such. Is the overproduced kind of nature to it.
Yes.
It's like I know it's a little bit tired. I don't care for the visual direction of the Wind Waker HD version. I think a lot of the quality of life changes are great, but like I feel like the more gradual lighting system mixed with the original cell shading just clash with each other.
Yes, I agree. And you know what? Like I joked about it with you all the time because James and I love Power Rangers, but like Steve and I, we've talked about like the Power Rangers movie, that 2017 one. I think that's 2017. And yeah, they really focused hard on the characters, and I couldn't give a shit because I'm there for the fucking Power Rangers, and those suits are trash. Therefore, the whole movie's trash, and I'm not putting up with it. Same with Michael Bayman Ninja Turtles. Is the story good? I don't know. I just hate how they look. That's all I care about.
They didn't have beaks. I don't like their human mouths. It's gross. Give them a beak.
And like a very small, almost like a very small thing, but like I'm thinking about like Mario re-releases when way back when they brought them on the Game Boy Advance, and maybe even back on Superstars or All Stars. I missed the all black backgrounds of like the extra areas in Mario 3.
Yeah,
they put actual backgrounds in them. Like, not into this. And that was enough for me.
It's one of the things that I have with like because obviously one of the games that I want to see re-released the most in this world is Skies of Arcadia.
Yeah.
I'm a little apprehensive, if only because like I don't know if I want it to look different. I just want the
Sega's
game available.
Sega, I've not played the Panzer Dragoon remake, but yeah, like the art direction is very. That's what stood out about those games back in the early 3D
Mobius,
games, right?
It was like Mobius's designs, and like to not taking Mobius's work into that world when he influenced so much of it seems a bit crazy to me. Overcooked.
Yeah, especially with early 3D days, like you really had to play within those limitations and really make something stand out. And to lose that just under new technology, I think is losing the plot a bit. Art direction is incredibly, incredibly important.
Yeah.
Even a simple remaster can ruin a game. I mean, Silent Hill 2.
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah.
I've been side-eyeing that remake ever since it got announced because I love the art direction of the original game.
I was actually going to bring that up, if only because you brought up the lost source code of House of the Dead 2, and I've been saying for some time now, or sorry, the House of the Dead 1. I'm sorry.
I don't even know if that's true. I just heard it somewhere.
It is. I think that they're talking about doing one for House of the Dead 2.
I've heard that too. Yeah, I've read that.
And I remember bringing up a discussion about it on Twitter because I'm a little like ignorant on this particular subject, but my understanding is okay. So for Silent Hill 2, for example, there's been a fan push to take the original PC version of that and rework it to make a like way like updated version of it that looks great. It's got that original like aesthetic to it and everything. It's got some quality of life enhancements. Sure, you got your widescreen and everything like that. But for all intents and purposes, it's the original game. And I kind of, the question I was posing was, how far does the excuse of the lost source code go? Is it really that impossible for them to take, like Blue Point Studios, for example? Like on more than one occasion, they have taken a retail disc and like cross-engineered it into a remaster. Why can Konami not do that for Silent Hill 2 and 3?
They more than likely can. Probably just don't want to.
I want to just quickly touch on something you said there. Like we can make the game look better, but keep the design of it intact. I personally kind of recoil at that thought of the art is a separate identity or a separate thing from the game itself. Like we can just upgrade the art because the art is now less than it was back then. When I think it's kind of a shame to just go, we can just updo this. I think that's kind of a I think it's a bit of a sad thing to say when I think the art influenced the design and the design influenced the art, and I kind of want to have something as the whole package of it being pristine, I think.
So that's something I want to touch on with Silent Hill 2 specifically. So the emulator we're using, like Stevie, like I've been singing its praise, like just like how much you can do with this emulator. Like you can just change, like most emulators I've played with, you can't change displays or resolutions or anything mid-game. You can do that, and like you can really just make it high-res, beautiful, widescreen, all that stuff. But there's also like an artificial film grain over Silent Hill 2. And like that, I mean, that alone is just telling you like, no, this was made to be on a CRT. This was made for this experience. And like, I mean, I've only played through the apartments properly, but that claustrophobic feeling that this game provides and the fucking soundtrack is stressful. I see what you're talking about, and I think that's especially true for like older games. I've seen so many comparisons. Like I have a friend who compared like a fully glossy Vectorman screen versus like this is what it looks like through a CRT filter. There's a difference. Like these were artists that were working with what they had, and you kind of lose a little bit of that brilliance with there. I don't know if there's like a middle ground to be had there. Like maybe, I don't know, maybe CRT filters? I don't know.
In a best case scenario for me, a lot of the time, like a CRT filter is fine. I think I worded myself poorly earlier. It's not so much that I think like any of these visual directions need to be improved per se. Like resolution is the only thing I would ever want to be touched, and that's if it even needs to be. Because like, for example, like I'm playing like I was recently playing like the Xbox version of Silent Hill 2. I think that game still looks incredible.
It does.
I think trying too hard to fix something that's great, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's why it's why I'm a little frustrated. The thing is I feel like I'm eating crow a bit with this Silent Hill 2 remake. If only because I was also, when it was first announced, I just kind of rejected it outright because I was just like, it's a great game. It doesn't need a remake. Like, it still holds up today. And the one thing that I'm pleased to see is I would kind of put it in the same vein as like the Resident Evil 2 remake, where it feels like enough of its own package, and it has an unmistakable reverence for the original game. In fact, there's actually like remixed areas. It's not like go from point A to point B to point B. Like there's a ton of new content like put in throughout, which I rejected at first. I do think that the dungeons themselves are too long in the remake. I will complain about that. I think that they're drawn out a bit.
That's saying something, because I felt like I was in apartments forever.
Oh god, dude! Like I felt like it. Yeah. It's I'm in the prison in the remake right now. I will commend the team on this. This is scarier than the original. I am terrified.
So here's the one thing I'm gonna be a bit of a hypocrite. Like I was backing up Stevie's point, but here's me as well. I appreciate the artistic vision of things. Like we're all artists here, and I've had so many lovely chats with Stevie specifically about the art of development. I've learned a lot. It's been very humbling and very eye-opening. That said, I've also grown up wanting the clearest picture as possible. I grew up in the era of, I mean, it seems a little bit silly to chase graphics now, but that was a big selling point for systems when I was growing up. Like I started with the NES and watching the evolution.
Oh, it always was. Let's not pretend wild. It wasn't.
Yeah, and like I still distinctly remember seeing like one of those fancier Sony screens when I was a kid, when my friend was playing GTA San Andreas, and you could see the screen a little bit sharper, and I was like, oh my god, shit's not blurry. I like that. So yeah, like I also will put up resolution when I play emulators just to dink around with it, because that's the kind of shit I wanted to do when I was a kid. And at the same time, this is what I said about Silent Hill 2, and Stevie will back me up on this. I've talked so much shit on tank controls, dude. I've talked so much shit, and I've heard so much of like what Silent Hill 2 is bringing in. But it sounded like normie shit, but I was also like, dog, like I will play through the original, but that sounds like a much more my bag. This is a way I can consume this a little bit easier.
I'm a tank controls defender. I love tank controls in horror games. I think that they just work super well for that format of game. Like the Resident Evil 1 remake, I can't play without the tank controls.
I can't fucking.
I'm a pathologic lover and defender, and I think sometimes the player needs to be uncomfortable. And I think that's the whole point of some of that. Like, yeah, you're frustrated when there's a monster coming at you. Yeah, you better be. That was designed by intent.
I'm not panicked. I'm just trying to get down the fucking stairs. And I'm just annoyed with it.
And they're the scariest stairs in the world now. Fall down, Grandma.
Oh, man. Oh, God. Bubsy 3D. I'm so scared.
You can sort your tone out a little bit right now, just now. You sort your tone out just now.
Hey, I want to say this.
Hey, listen, we're still in renovations. You guys are gonna have to take this outside.
So here's the
I'll
thing.
take him at the knees.
Here's something I do want to play with Stevie desperately, and they announced this today. This is getting a physical release.
Oh.
I got excited for a second.
Crow Country?
Crow Country.
Crow Country's great. Really love Crow Country. Oh my god, what a great game. Fun, brilliant,
I
lovely
need to
game.
play that. I also picked
Really excited you're going to talk about Pathologic 3.
We will talk about it in a second. But I just also wanted to say, I think I've kind of outgrown a lot of the things that freak me out. I mean, I'm still intimidated to try Fatal Frame again. Like, that'll be the game I talk about in terms of like what really messed me up in terms of scares. I only played the demo of the original Silent Hill, but man, the impact of that game left on me.
Yeah,
that demo was horrifying.
What does the demo cover?
It gets you. I've heard that they kind of fast track a couple things.
Okay.
If I remember right, Harry eventually ends up in a dark alley, stat explained, and then you're attacked by one of the skinless kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get
group of them.
Yeah, and then you wake up in the diner, and then it ends with something crashing through the window. That's what I remember.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So you want to know something weird? That's my favorite Silent Hill game.
Well, I was going to say, aesthetic alone.
I'm a big Silent Hill 4 enjoyer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of like, I mean, 10 controls are not like, I really want to play through the original Silent Hill just, to prove to kid Nick that he could do it. But also like, dude, like where I was like just tired of like grainy, cruddy graphics, I'm super nostalgic for PS1 style graphics these days.
Yeah.
And I think, I forgot what the devs are called, but there's definitely a dev team, or at least a publisher out there that's really leaning into not just the nostalgia of PS1.
He does the kind of like Hammer House horror kind of cover art, right?
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Puppet Combo, is it?
Yeah. Puppet Combo.
Yeah.
And like they're really playing that into like, no, this is actually terrifying. And I think that's fascinating. And like Stevie, you've recommended me some videos where they talk about that aesthetic.
Oh, well, like, real quick, just to your point on like aesthetics and stuff, that's why I'm a big thing of, I don't really think I need a horror game remade, because I don't need fidelity with horror, because I want my mind to, really make up things. I want to see shapes in the dark. That frightens me more. I don't need to see every organ coming out of a zombie. I just need the appearance of there's horror here. So, there's another artist I really like who does Itch.io. She released her game for free. I think her name's like Kitty Horror Show, and she does phenomenal short free horror games. She's incredible.
What I think really works for me for that particular art style, and this is why I've kind of gotten over anything that would have freaked me out as a kid. Like Pyramid Head's never going to scare me. Like monsters are never going to scare me. But the more human they look, the creepier they are. Ghosts still freak me out. Ghost stories and all that stuff still freak me out. And then, like, you look back at PS1 and they were trying so hard to make things look human. And now, horror games are using that aesthetic to be like, no, that face is not going to move. We're going to lean back into this uncanny valley and look at this thing mimicking a human being. I think that's fascinating.
I will say the remake got me with Pyramid Head early on in a way I was not anticipating, because I knew
I'm excited.
I knew it was coming. So you finished the apartments.
Oh yeah.
The one area where he's just behind like a grate, like he's just like behind the wall, just staring at you.
That was a great.
What a brilliant way to introduce.
Just constantly bathed in red.
It's so much scarier in the remake. Oh my god.
Yay!
Because he's just standing there. That's all he does.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That like that's what I was worried about. Like there's some things I would be irritated with, and this is a problem. I haven't played it in years. Mm-hmm. I think this was a problem with Twin Snakes, where they kind of get a little
a problem with Twin Snakes.
That's a problem with Twin Snakes, you say?
Where, I mean, this is a problem with a lot of remakes, right? Where they don't. It's just like you're saying the name incorrectly. You're emphasizing the wrong parts.
Yeah.
I would hate if there was like a fucking cutscene for Pyramid Head at that point right there.
Have I ever told you my theory though for Twin Snakes?
Yes, you have.
Yeah.
And I love it. Tell Wayne, it's brilliant.
Yeah, what?
My theory for Twin Snakes is that it's Otacon retelling the story of Shadow Moses.
I would love that.
So, like when Snake's going from one side of the doorway to the other one, he's like hearing Liquid talk. in the original, he just moves across it. In the other, like in Twin Snakes, he like does a backflip from standing. There's Otacon going like, oh yeah, and then he did a backflip, and then he closed his eyes and he shot.
You know, it's actually not far off from like a common a sort of fan theory that I hear about Ghost Babel, the Game Boy Color game.
Yeah.
Is that is technically canon, and it's one of the VR missions that Jack was trained on before his mission in Sons of Liberty.
Love it. I mean, that's canon to me now.
Sorry, I keep going back to the Silent Hill 2 remake. I am fascinated by it. I feel like I'm glazing it a lot. There are things that I'm a little like, it does have those remake-itis things to me. That's my main frustration. I think that the remake is actually, like, what I've played up till now is phenomenal, and I think that it's incredibly well realized, and I think that it handles the original material. I was terrified of them botching Angela's story. If anything, I think they've done it more justice here.
That's good.
I'm interested. I'm very attached to Angela and her story, and I think it's been done pretty perfect, so I'm very interested to have a look at it now, because I hold your opinion in high regard, Wayne, so I'm interested to have a look at how they've handled that.
It teeters on the edge of going a little overboard, but there is an encounter in the prisons that has been changed, and it forces you into a position Angela would have been in, and it's heartbreaking. And I think
that might be a miss for me. Woof.
No, not like that. Not like that. It's mostly in the sense of like, I guess some slight spoilers.
Wait, before you do that.
No. Because Nick, you're not there yet. You're not there. Yeah,
no. Let me finish my point.
Yeah.
I think we might have to revisit this conversation after all three of us have played it, because I'm very interested in playing.
I would be really interested in actually doing that, like we'll just get together, kind of like a little game book club.
I will say that
I think it'd be interesting to do it after you play too, Nick, because you're already coming up with some theories of things, and I'd really love for us to kind of like. Or you could shut up and let me
Sorry.
I do apologize, though, Stevie. It's not the way I made it sound. It's not like that. It's not that overboard.
No, I'm just super attached to her for reasons. I'm very attached to her. Like, you don't have to apologize for anything. I'm very interested. I'm really interested to see how that is.
I will say, it's one of those things where it's only connecting you to her perspective if you think of it that way. Like, you have to actively connect those dots.
Yeah. But yeah, like, you've mentioned a bit of theory crafting to me, Wayne, about Silent Hill 2, and like sitting and playing the game with Nick, and he's starting that. I'd love to kind of like have a chat about that, and then follow it up with what we think of Silent Hill remake.
Oh yeah, we should definitely once all of us have at least like I don't know if everybody here is planning on playing the remake.
Yes, that's why I'm playing the original. I feel like it's important because it's a gaming milestone.
Yes.
Regardless of how I feel about certain things. And this is where I push back. This is what I like about with remakes and stuff like that. I know everyone likes the original voice acting. I know everyone likes the tank controls. I don't. And I would like.
A good thing none of us asked.
That's. But I still want to appreciate this work of art on its terms and really take it in on an earnest, sincere, open-minded level.
Yeah.
And really give it a shot, and see how it affects me and what it's trying to tell me versus just jumping straight into something because it's more convenient for me.
And I think that's
healthy.
I think that's a good way to do it too. I will say, like, again, my biggest frustration is just that, like, in a best case scenario, to me, the remake would have come out, and Konami would also release a collection like they did for Metal Gear Solid, and just like make those 4 games available. And I honestly don't think that the loss of the source code is an excuse. I think that they could do it. I think fans could do it. Like, I think it is a thing that could be done. It would be work, yes, but I think it would be worth it.
Money at this point. Let's be real. It would just be spending money.
And it's so weird too, because the remake actively acknowledges the existence of a different version of this game.
Yeah.
And so the remake adds in these little moments. I hope this isn't giving away too much. It shows up like as soon as you start the game.
I know the ending.
No. Oh well. Damn. I wish you did.
It's the journey, though. There's the journey.
The journey. It is. It is one of the most monumental milestones of gaming history.
Yeah.
Everybody knows it just by osmosis. I'm more curious to see how we get there. How the connection.
Yeah.
Is there? I don't know all the details.
The only thing I was going to mention was like that walk to Silent Hill at the very beginning of the game. Starts a little trend that shows up a lot in the remake, and that is certain events take place in different locations, but if you find the location it originally took place in, you can interact with it, and for a split second you'll see a bit of static. There will be this little like nostalgic music chime, and it will sometimes even switch to the fixed camera angle for just a split second from the original game. And I'm like, these guys want you to play the original version. If Konami would let like newer audiences, it's like, I've got the game. Like I can go back and replay it. It's just frustrating to me that like, to me, it does not feel like the remake was made by the developers intending to replace the original. It feels like an expansion.
That's interesting. That's something, Stevie, I'd actually like to pick your brain about, like, because you're very protective of this game. You're protective of the 2 remakes that they're doing. This and Delta. But we do have dev teams now that have grown up loving these things, cherishing these things. If you had that opportunity to remake Silent Hill 2, would you be doing that?
I don't know if I could deal with the pressure, if I'm totally honest with you. Like, when I heard there was a Panzer Dragoon remake, and I love Panzer Dragoon. It's like one of my favorite things in the world. Like, if Echo came out, like, a dev team for that, oh my god. My thing is, I find it difficult as a dev to go, oh, I'll go work on that if the opportunity presents itself to me, without there being a way for people to experience the original, because the reason I have such admiration for it is because of somebody else's vision, and I want to protect that still, even if I could then continue the legacy.
Yeah.
I just have a problem that we kind of have these games that are basically Criterion Collection, but we don't have a Criterion Collection for games. This is just a bit of a bummer. I honestly don't know how I would respond. It would really depend on the game, on how holy I hold the game.
Yeah. It's why I like that, like, the Medieval remake on PS4, like, one of the unlockables is just the original PS1 game.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, that's cool.
So that's horror adjacent, like, it's Halloween vibes more than it's horror. I can't really talk about... I could still talk about Medieval. I recently replayed... Not recently, it was a couple years ago. But I did do Medieval 1 and 2. I've only played the demo of Medieval PS4. I thought it was fine. It could just be what culture and someone on the scriptwriter just being weird about it, but they were just straight up talking shit about the remake compared to the original. It's like, oh, this is so sloppy compared to the combat of the original. I'm like, what are you talking about? The original game's platforming and combat was horrible. I don't remember anybody having a problem with Medieval PS4. Am I crazy there?
I don't know what the reception was like. I played it and I enjoyed it.
I
wanted to play it recently. I want to play it soon. Sorry, go ahead, Stevie.
I was just gonna say I think it was kind of like warm. It wasn't like set the world on fire, but people were like, oh, this is nice. I miss the Medieval.
Yeah,
that's why I remember.
I honestly think more. I kind of wish more games could just be like that, where they're not trying to like be the new milestone in the industry. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
God, please.
I do apologize. I feel like I tangented on the remake a little bit too much, because I do want to save more of that discussion for when everybody's more up to speed.
We're talking horror, baby.
Yeah, but I actually was going to try to see if we could segue into expanding on that.
Sure.
And I was going to ask the two of you, Nick, it might, now, because I don't think you've played a ton of horror games, but if you have like games that are just like more horror adjacent or elements like that, you've played Bloodborne, right?
Of course, yeah.
Hell yeah. I count that. I count Bloodborne. And that was I was thinking about it, and I always thought that I had played a decent amount of horror games, and it occurred to me just the other day, no, I really haven't. I've played some Silent Hill and Resident Evil. Not a ton of stuff outside of that, but I would love to hear from the two of you. What is a couple of your favorite horror games, and what is it that draws you to them?
So my list might be a bit shorter. You want me to go first, Stevie? You
go for it.
Okay. So I think the Souls games are a good. I mean, like you have. They do kind of keep that general idea of not so much helplessness, but you're in constant danger, and there's a bunch of dead, rotting, scary stuff around you. So I can see that. Like if Resident Evil's horror, then so is Dark Souls and Bloodborne.
I agree.
I'm completely there with. So those games specifically, because they do kind of keep the challenge. What I like more about horror games than anything else is the general aesthetic. I just like Halloween stuff. Another game I would put on there would be, and I was kind of surprised this was considered a horror game for a while, but looking back, I could see why. The original BioShock. I think that was, that's one of my all-time favorite video games.
Hell yeah, brother.
Just again, aesthetic alone, like the general setting of it is unique. The Art Deco, underwater, all of that's really cool, and they had a lot of wild concepts there. Like the intimidation factor of like how you interact with the enemies is also interesting to me. So the Big Daddy, I thought was fascinating because it is an enemy and it can kill you in a heartbeat, but it doesn't actively try to go after you. You're not even a blip on its radar. It could give a crap about you. As long as you stay away from the little sister, it doesn't care. I thought that was an element of world building I had not seen before in a video game that really stuck with me when I first played it. I just immediately fell in love with that game and some of the things they were trying to do. And I do also remember them doing the Doctor Who Weeping Angel thing with some wax statues in a flooded apartment at one point, which was pretty neat.
That's pretty neat.
That's pretty neat. I know everyone knows the big twist and everything. I thought it was interesting. Just like the meta commentary about control and all that stuff. It was, whatever, dude. I just like the big underwater city. So, yeah, I guess those are the two that kind of stand out for me. Bloodborne specifically because the gameplay was great, and I like the general aesthetic of gothic horror meets the Mountains Madness. So, yeah, there we go.
I love horror games. I am still a big baby, but I love them because I love how human the stories are, and I think it's really important to in life, you're going to go touch things that you don't want to touch, right? You're going to experience tragedy, sadness, fear. And I think it's important for you to still get in touch with those emotions in a safe space. And that's what horror games do for me. And they also help me, I think for me personally, they can also help me have a higher level of empathy. Because when you put into the shoes of somebody who's going through something so horrific, it's a good lesson to take with you back to the waking world. And I have a ton of horror games I really like. So, I mean, I've been hinting at it for ages, but I'll start with Pathologic 2. I adore Pathologic 2. It hasn't got the ooks and spooks of something else, but the stress and just the anxiety that it gives you, and it's a literal survival kind of game, is amazing. And it's also, to me, incredibly hopeful. Like, it's mean and it's unforgiving and it's harsh and stressful and just but the core of it is hope, and I think that's just really important. I don't think you get that quite the same way in any other genre. I really like the compilation games that come out, the Fierce Fathom games.
Yeah,
I think they're nice bite-sized little kind of ghost stories, kind of, but with a really human element, like something that you were both saying earlier. It was like that human kind of feeling in with a monster is really scary. And like, basically, you know, a lot of them are stalker stories, and maybe being a girl, that's even more frightening. But just, I really love those little bite-sized adventures where you're just kind of left with the unsettlingness. And sometimes, there's a good happy ending at them, which thank God, because my anxiety's going through my chest. But I think there's just some really well-crafted games. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Faith games.
No.
Where they're kind of like an Amiga, Commodore kind of thing. I would really recommend having a look at them because you wouldn't expect something that looks the way they do, as low tech as they do.
Not to interrupt you. Is that the one Wendigoon covered?
I think he's covered it. Does it look kind of like a little kind of like black screen? Yeah.
Like a Commodore 64 kind of a...
Yeah, that's Faith.
Older than that.
Oh, okay.
I might have to try that out. Yeah.
They're just great, cool stories. Really.
I'll let you get back to it. Like I've been waiting to hear from you about horror, if I'm honest with you.
I was actually also going to ask, in regards to Pathologic 2, if I'm remembering correctly, was Pathologic 2 essentially like a recreation of the original Pathologic, or am I getting mixed up?
It's it is a sequel. And if you've played Pathologic 1, some of the things that get said to you in Pathologic 2 makes a lot of sense. Like, this isn't really a spoiler, it's just like,
Oh, I've seen H-Bomber Guy's video on Pathologic 15 times.
Yeah, then you'll get it. So, yeah, it's pretty much a remake, and we've just been, literally last week, and I've never been excited for a game like this. I think I know what joy and love is now, and I've never felt this before, and I think I'm finally alive when they announced Pathologic 3, because I was kind of at peace, we're never going to get the other 2 campaigns. I was like, that's fine. I loved playing the Haruspex. I loved it. Great.
Oh, hang on a minute.
Yeah, that's exactly why.
Oh, okay.
Haruspex examines the entrails of animals to divine the future, and I always put my money through horrific things, so haha.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I'm connecting dots here.
Yeah. Pathologic 3 is going to kind of play with time travel, we think. So, you can make decisions in the past to see how it affects the future and see what happens. And I bet, not everything's going to be perfect. You're going to have to make hard decisions and break hearts and break people to maybe save the town, which, again, is that level of stress and just this anxiety of... For me, the hope of Pathologic is you can't save everyone. Save what you can. Don't give up. I'm really excited. My favorite
problem. The railroad problem.
Literally that. I'm a very empathetic person. But in Pathology 2, you can hear babies cry, and they're in a plague house, and I went, nah, fuck them kids. I ain't doing it. No. I'm not doing it. The reward is really good because you're starving and you can get some bread. I'm like, nah, fuck them kids. I'm just not putting myself through that. No, thank you.
There's I'm incredibly susceptible to just when I'm playing games and stuff. If there's a character, especially a kid, crying, and it is instant for me. I was playing Rebirth. It was the part 2 of the Final Fantasy VII remake. Mm-hmm. And I don't think this is giving too much away, but there's a short little instance where you play as Aerith as a young girl. And she's trying to find help for her mother who's injured, and she starts crying, and then I start crying. And I'm like, you can't do that to me. No, don't make me feel things.
Not on a Tuesday. You can't be doing this on Tuesday.
I'm so easy to get with that, dude.
Yeah,
you are. You're a big sweetheart. When we were, and I was finishing up Breath of the Wild, not Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, and you were drunk, and you were just watching me finish the game over my shoulder.
Oh no!
And I was just like, oh, that was the ending I expected. And I look over, you have tears in your eyes,
oh,
on her way home.
Yay!
I was very happy for her. It was very emotional.
He lost his wallet or something, or his phone or something.
No, that was at MagFest. I was watching you finish.
I think you're probably an absolute.
I gotta get stuff at MagFest. I'm excited for that.
I real quick want to touch on my favorite Resident Evil is Code Veronica. Come at me, haters. I don't care. That game's great.
I've not played Code Veronica.
It's so weird. It's so fucking weird.
I had fun watching my uncle play it when I was younger because he had a Dreamcast first.
So good.
He was I don't know, it was just pretty graphics back when I was a kid, and
it's so fucking weird.
Well,
Steve is so funny. Just father. Oh, best Resident Evil.
I want to.
I
actually
it's literally that. Dad, like shut up, Steve.
I actually do.
Get over it now.
I actually do really want to play it, but I want a Dreamcast copy because that's the playthrough I want
that's the
to
way
be
I
my
played
first
it.
one.
You've got to get it. Yeah.
Dude, it's weird that I own a Dreamcast copy of that and you don't. It's weird.
Boys' night.
Boys' night?
Boys' night,
And
when I
then-
come to your house, break your legs and take your stuff.
Aw, boys' night. As long as you leave the Geo crystal at the door.
I don't think Wayne knows what that is.
I don't.
Oh, don't worry, Wayne. I've got an image paste to send to you.
Oh no.
Wait, you know what? I'll leave that for his boy to explain that to. That's all yours, Nick. Other than that, I just want to say, have you guys played Eternal Darkness?
No, it's on my list. I really need to play that.
Oh, it's so good. Silicon Knight, they came, they gave me that, and they left.
They came, I came, it was a great time.
They really did. I came, I cried. It was just a fluid jamboree. God, what a great game.
Jesus Christ.
Oh,
I did actually.
it's really good, and I'm so mad that Nintendo's patented some like the sanity system and stuff.
Dude, yeah,
Fuck
screw
you.
that. I'm just like so many of the. I hate patents like that. I think it's so dumb. I do really, really, really want to play that. I see it come through our store from time to time. I need to finally like just grab a copy and play it.
I would love to see what you think of it, Wayne. I think it's a real great game.
I think the idea alone is fascinating, especially when you're talking about just kind of like descending lineage, and you're sort of like, I might be like misunderstanding how all of that works, but it's like generations of different people that are all like solving this one horrific mystery.
Yeah, and I think it ties into what I was saying about Pathologic being a game about hope. I feel like the same thing is with Eternal Darkness, that it takes all these generations to conquer this terrible, like world-ending, universe-ending evil, but as long as you have it, you can keep striving forward. And again, I think it's done the best when it's in horror.
Yeah.
I think it's great. It's such a great fucking game.
Well, that's one of the reasons I adore Majora's Mask so much.
Yeah, and that can be horrific in just its kind of
it's a creepy game.
like, we know it's creepy, but just kind of like the horrific outcomes for these people when you see them on the last day and they know they're gonna die, and it's like, damn, this is real human stuff.
Yeah.
We've had this debate. I kind of, not to jump too much on it, it might be a fun little side topic. I still need to beat Majora's Mask, so like I'm kind of talking on my
Nice
ass
to me.
a little bit here. I love the general aesthetic. I love the general art direction, the vibe of that game. I do like how they lean into some horror elements. I've always kind of seen it a little bit more B horror. You remember when we had like a kind of almost a debate about like what game we find creepier, and I found the Ocarina of Time to be a creepier overall experience, if I'm honest with you.
I kind of honestly, I get that. I think Ocarina of Time has probably, especially in pockets, like if you're looking under the well and stuff like that, like it's got more horror elements throughout. Now, I will say some of those do return for Majora's Mask that maybe you haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
And there's one temple in particular. There's one area and one temple in Majora's Mask that is just death.
Oh.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I do love that area a lot, but I do think that there's like a psychological element that Majora's Mask plays with, especially when you come to terms with like the way that the time travel mechanic works and everything, and you're finding all of these people and you're learning about their stories and everything like that. And the horror, I think, comes more from the fact that you're understanding that, hey, you might save one or two of these people in the moment, but then you fail, and then you got to reset the clock and you got to go do other stuff while those people are suffering again.
Yeah,
I think-
I go for it, Wayne.
One of my favorite examples, and I'm sure I've brought it up a couple of times, but Cremia and Romani, like on the last day, is heart-shattering. As she's literally like getting her kid sister drunk so that she's sleeping unaware of them being destroyed. Like it's stuff like that.
It's the Kathy and Anju side quest as well that they just that final thing they say, like we'll face the morning together. I'm like, fuck, okay. But I like on the whole I agree with Nick, but I think Ocarina of Time is a bit more scary because it's so much more jarring. Like for me, Majora's Mask has a constant level of tension. You're always aware that the moon's going to fall. You can't miss it. To me, it has tension. It is definitely creepy, but it's anxiety for me. I had a copy of Ocarina of Time pre-owned because we were pretty poor. I got the N64 quite late, you know, all that kind of stuff. And my cart was fully maxed out and complete. So I used to go onto that save file and just like play the songs and see where I end up. And I remember when I sang the song and got to the Shadow Temple and I went, no. I got up, I turned that N64 off and I said, no ma'am, I think not. I think it has moments of just real like, all of a sudden, boom, we're in Spooky Town.
The Shadow Temple might have more horror elements just within that one temple than the entirety of Majora's Mask. Like it is that is a creepy dungeon.
Lore. Like I love the lore of it. I think that's really interesting. I really enjoy Zelda 2 when I can, just because I love that deep dive stuff. I remember I didn't complete that game until I was like in my 20s because as a kid I was so upset with the dead skeleton kids. I went, no, I don't like dead kids. That makes me sad. I'm a kid. Oh, that's really sad. When I beat that, and I was like, yeah, I'm a big brave girl now. And then, you know, Castle Town just being filled with zombies, and I was like, everyone that I got to know and I talked to, they're dead. Fuck, I don't like this. Quit that. Forest Temple, that's spooky too. Don't like that. It's spooky.
Yeah.
Floor hands aren't great.
And the dead hands.
Dead hands is a next level kind of nightmare.
And I think that he was done better in the N64 version than the 3DS remake.
Oh, I agree.
Because I think the lower fidelity is just makes it like, my brain's doing more work.
And like light spoilers, he does show up in Majora's Mask, but I do think that it's so much more jarring in Ocarina because you've never seen that before.
No.
Yeah.
I'm a happy little fairy boy, and now there's this fucking thing.
And I guess we're back to early 3D, because I'm also thinking of Mario 64. What I thought was brilliant, and I mean, you guys are around Sonic fans, and they still pick a fight that everyone else got over a million years ago. What's better, Sonic Adventure or Mario 64? I prefer playing Sonic Adventure, but I deeply, deeply, deeply respect Mario 64. I think it's amazing that game holds up as well as it does today. And I really loved, because for a little while I wondered if it was an accident, but like the liminal spaces that was the, you know, Peach's corridors and everything, that really, that empty weird feeling like you're almost going to see something out of the corner of your eye. And I almost didn't think it was intentional until I saw the boo that led out to the courtyard, where it's like, we understand that we made. Yeah, we understand. Like, we watched The Shining before we made this game. Yeah, it's kind of the vibes I got. And then you get to Boo's. Yeah, you get to the haunted house, and God,
that piano.
Not even just the piano, like the music, dude.
Oh.
Like you get in there, it's just loud, violent wind. It was really good. That was the first time. Because I would normally before games like this, you know, just run and hide from the scary things. But like I was finally getting to the age where I'm a little bit more prepared for that. And Mario, weirdly enough, was kind of like the gateway into like saying, no, it's okay to be a little bit scared. It's okay to be a little bit intimidated. It's just in this little corner of this fun, happy adventure, there's a little bit of danger. And then I'll be real, I don't know if I'd have been ready for Ocarina of Time without Mario playing with that first. And I don't know, I love seeing horror elements where you don't entirely expect them. It's not just, I love Banjo-Kazooie, I love the Halloween aesthetic of whatever that
Mad Monster Mansion.
It's cute and all, it does not compare to the
'cause
overwhelming vibe of Boo's Mansion or whatever it is.
Yeah, because Boo's Mansion is spooky. Monster Mansion's like Halloween. It's fun, you know.
Yeah. It's interesting because Boo's Mansion doesn't actually have a whole lot of.
Scary. And Clanker was the scariest thing in Banjo-Kazooie. Fuck Clanker.
Until I started talking to him, and he's a big sweet boy.
I don't want to talk to him. I never made eye contact with him. As a kid, I would put my hand over the TV and I would just swim away. I didn't want to. I did not perceive that shark.
I get it. I don't like being in the water with big scary things either, but I got over that pretty quickly. I thought he was cool. Again, I was getting a little bit older by the time 64 was out, and that was near the end of the life cycle too.
Yeah. I was 6.
I was not.
No, you were 30.
But yeah, I have not partaken in a lot of horror games, but I certainly appreciate the elements of it. I think there's a reason why we all love Halloween, even if we play with these more what's the word I'm looking for? I was gonna say cabaret. That's not the word.
Macabre.
Thank you. Why did I think of a C word?
You're very welcome.
Yeah. These more macabre
please
elements.
Don't say the C word on my show.
I can, I'm British.
No.
I won't, Wayne. I like you too much.
Aww. But yeah, these macabre elements, yeah, I think Stevie, you described it the best. Like, it's important to play with these spaces in a safe manner. And my smart monitor decided to hear that part.
I heard
spooky.
I heard that.
And it's
funny.
It's trying to look up the best match for, I think, TV. You described it best.
Hey, you're Stevie the TV.
No, it thinks when I said Stevie, I thought I said.
I know. I'm just trying to also like take. Oh, I want my flowers.
That's fair.
Yeah, I just think it's like I'm a real big proponent, real big supporter. Evangelize horror for kids. I think is really important because you need to learn to be brave. Like when I grew up, I don't think you guys had it stateside, but it was like Grizzly Tales for gruesome kids. I think horror is an important thing that you need to touch in some way. You don't need to be going down and getting with like Silent Hill games or whatever, but I think just having a touch of that stuff teaches you to be brave and teaches you to be hopeful when things are really dire. One of my like least favorite kind of things sometimes in horror is at the end of the horror you die. Like, all right, we're all gonna die. That's kind of boring to me. If you really want me to feel unsettled and like horrified, then I live with the knowledge of what's happened and no one believes me. That's how you finish a horrible, horrific event.
Yeah.
But yeah, like otherwise, I quite like it when you take back the forbidden knowledge. You know what you know, and now it's kind of up to the rest of the story to how are you going to use that knowledge.
Yeah, Stevie, have you played Bloodborne?
I have indeed.
Okay, I was going to say that is a game I would highly, highly recommend to you. I
love it.
It does kind of have one of those endings, like especially if you get like the ultimate ending where it doesn't feel fruitless though. You did accomplish something.
Yeah, like have you played Lisa by any chance?
Oh, so I'm familiar, but I've not played it.
Okay, like it's just the thing of like maybe the ending isn't happy or good in that same kind of vein of what we imagine it to be of happy or good.
Yeah.
But you did something. You moved it an inch closer to positivity, to progress. And I really like that for Bloodborne. I didn't think it was like complete hopelessness. Like,
yeah,
it's destruction of the self, but there's still momentum, I guess.
I would also actually, since we have you here, I would love to pick your brain about that one. I guess go ahead and some spoilers for Bloodborne, just because I don't like talking too much about that game to people who haven't played it.
Yeah.
But it's worth. If you haven't played it, the lore is gonna be incomprehensible.
Yeah.
I played through it. It's incomprehensible to me.
So my thing is that there is a nature to it that is not advertised that surprised the hell out of me when I played it, and I was not expecting the brand of horror that it went into.
I did kind of spoil that a little bit earlier, so
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
But
the Eldritch horror.
the like cosmic it's so cool. But I wanted to pick your brain about it, especially Stevie, since it is like
British.
Well, I wasn't gonna say that. No, to me, it like, or at least the way I read it, and this seems to be a fairly common read on the game, is that it is a very like melancholic discussion on very feminine struggles.
Funnily enough, I wrote my dissertation from one of my degrees on horror and femininity. So yeah, I'm up for that.
Yeah. Okay, well that's that makes a lot of sense actually. Well, especially since like women are portrayed so frequently within horror. And
their femininity being the horrific part.
Yeah, Bloodborne was definitely one of those where it was it was really dissecting, like, Jesus Christ, like the women in that world. Oh my God, like the way that they were used.
Yeah, the living.
Remind me,
kind of thing.
I haven't played that game since release, so I'm just gonna sit back and listen and be reminded.
A lot of it is that women are used almost ritualistically in Bloodborne, and there is a very big push within its it's my brain's been filled up with so many other stories since I played this last, but like the Healing Church was essentially trying to birth a god, and they were trying to essentially become as the Great Ones, which were just, for a lack of a better word, the aliens in the game.
Right.
And they wanted to see if they could like transcend man to that, and the result was sometimes experiments on women to force them to give birth to these things. There's also the Orphan of Kos, who is oh God, the DLC of the Old Hunters deals with like what a lot of the hunters from the older age, basically like tortured one of the Great Ones to death, and her child has just been like sitting weeping in her carcass like since then, and you go and fight this thing as it is throwing around its mother's placenta at you as its weapon. Like, it is like feminine imagery is all over the game, and a lot of it is kind of like how this world saw women within its culture almost as a means of I guess production and little more.
Interesting.
I mean, like, totally, I've got a lot of love for Bloodborne. Like, holy fuck, yeah, I want to get into it. But it's kind of like, just because we've been talking so much about Silent Hill, you see that mirrored a lot with Alessa too. Just women being just vehicles of something greater. They are just a means to get to the next stage of something. Silent Hill 4, like, I again goes into kind of like the horror of not even really womanhood, but birth. And so, yeah, just feminine imagery being a part of, like, you know, just horror content in general. Alien, Rosemary's Baby, fuck Polanski, obviously. But I think the reading of women just being kind of subhuman, basically, vehicles and tools for mankind to reach a greater kind of like station, is a very valid reading, and I think that's what the developers are aching towards. You know, there's, yeah, I like, other people have said it way better than I could, and it's just kind of a beautiful melancholy, and that's why kind of like the inhuman ending to Bloodborne is that humanity is kind of lost its way. Humanity lost its humanity so massively, it might need to go back a bit. It needs to go back to Thetis, to Euro, to earn its keep again.
Yeah, I think that there's a fascinating element to the best ending that you can get in the game, is defeating the moon presence, who essentially, motherhood is all over that game. There is a good ending without actually fighting the final boss, where you are greeted by the moon presence who embraces you as a mother would to essentially make you reborn. And the way to actually fight her and achieve the best ending is to scour Yharnam for 3 umbilical cords to devour. To essentially.
That's what I wasn't remembering. I knew it was you have to eat an abortion or something.
And the saddest part is like how you achieve those, because some of them are directly from women you interact with within the game. There is.
Oh damn! I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. Oh god. Now there are 4 umbilical cords to obtain. You only need 3, and there was one that I could have obtained that I couldn't. I was like emotionally like it got me.
Yeah.
There is a character that you can interact with, and she was an escort, so she was a sex worker, and of course,
Sure.
like she was treated how you would expect by society. And then like you can rescue her and bring her into the chapel, and she's one of the nicest NPCs that you can bring in with you. If you she will offer you her blood, which you can consume to give you like certain effects throughout the game. But if you do it too many times, and you have like one of these other like holy ladies in the same chapel, she will murder that woman, claiming that she's unclean and is jealous that you would, I don't want to use the same words, partially just for, the sake of comfort, but also...
Sure.
Yeah, but if she lives, there is an invisible Great One that essentially, like, without her knowledge or obviously consent, essentially inseminates her. And she will just give birth to this strange hybrid child, and her mind just snaps. If you kill her to put her out of her misery, you can take the umbilical cord.
Good God.
Yeah, it's horrific. I couldn't. I saw that happen, and I was just like, I couldn't do it. It was too much. It was too much, man. That game is unapologetic, and it is horrifying, and I feel like it does not treat that material with kid gloves, because it wants you to really think about the amount of pain that it's caused. And that's something I appreciate. It's uncomfortable for sure, but it is also, it's just like, that's one of those things that you almost kind of have to talk about, because this is just how like women are treated in societies. Not to white knight it too much, obviously, but like these are issues that I feel like still plague society in the real world today.
Sure.
Not to the dramatic degrees that you see in that game or anything, but I think you know what I mean, of just like the dehumanization and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, like you'd be crazy. Like you have to actively ignore that if you think that's not still a problem today.
Yeah.
So
that's that is I think that's one of the things that I love about Bloodborne, is that it is cosmic horror, it's gothic horror, but it is the deeper that you look into the lore of Bloodborne and everything that has happened to it and everything that has made it what it has become is not because of the Great Ones necessarily. It is because of man, and not just the wickedness that they, that they conjured or they committed. It's just the things that they've done,
Yeah.
This is a little off topic, but I'd be interested to know. Have you played, just speaking about cosmic horror or eldritch horror, have you played Call of the Sea? I think it's called.
I don't know that I've heard of that one.
I think it's Call of the Sea. Yeah, it's eldritch theming, but in a different genre, and I thought it was a very, very interesting game.
You said Hole of the Sea?
Call of the Sea, yeah.
Ooh.
It went a place I didn't expect, and so whilst you think it will probably go down a horror route, it does something a little different, but it's still very human, and I thought that was a really interesting game to play.
Well,
Did you tell me about that before?
Yeah, I did. I think I also said to you, like, it's when you think of Eldritch, you immediately go horror. This kind of takes I don't know, for me, it took a different genre approach.
Okay. Well, I mean,
something quite unexpected.
If you wouldn't mind, like, linking me to that, it's definitely something I'd be interested in checking out.
I would be more than happy to, my friend. More than happy to.
You. Oh, I guess I didn't talk about my favorite horror games today.
Yeah.
Could you please? I want to know everything.
Yeah. Like I said before, I thought that I had played more than I really have. So I feel my answers are limited. A lot of it is Resident Evil and Silent Hill, but I think Silent Hill as a franchise has definitely had a huge influence on what I appreciate about horror and what I look for in it. The first one that I played, like I said before, my favorite is Silent Hill 1. I think it's clean. I think it's interesting. I think it's like I love the way that game looks. I tried describing it one day. It's hard for me to put into words, but it's like there's something about that game that also feels like it so perfectly captures just a moment in an era. And a very like small part of like the horror genre. It feels
like an awakening, right?
Yeah. It also, it's just like, it's so fascinating how it captures the vibes of not only these horrific, like satanic rituals and everything happening in this little sleepy town, but also just kind of the more relaxed like vibe of that sleepy town too. You go into some of those locations and you can almost like feel the wood paneling on the walls. You can smell the stale coffee in the air. Like it is just that era. I think right down to the fact that they even made like the little fake bloopers during the credits where it was like they were really trying to capture like what if this had just been like a TV special on a show in the 90s. I don't know. I adore that game, but my first Silent Hill game was actually Shattered Memories.
Oh.
So I know. I like
it's
that.
It's okay. I forgive you.
So I actually do enjoy that game. I would say though, more from a narrative standpoint. I think what it does in its storytelling is more interesting than anything else in the game. I do also think that it has a really good soundtrack, but that's kind of besides the point. It does make me a little bit sad, if only because I think that the aesthetic, taking the otherworld idea and instead of having everything turned to steel and bloodstained grates and stuff like that, having everything freeze over, turn to ice and everything, that's super fascinating, and it just makes me wish that Cold Heart had gotten developed instead. But then the other world is all chase sequences, and that kind of sucks. And there's certain things that I think it does well. I think that was one of the games that took the most advantage of if you were just trying to bask in the unique vibes of the Silent Hill franchise. That's one thing. But wasting any monster encounters and everything, because you're not armed, you don't get a gun. It falls into this fallacy of, if you can't fight back, that's scarier, when in reality it just makes it more annoying, especially when you're trying to solve puzzles in the midst of it and everything. I still think that the twist at the end of it, which, Nick, I don't know if you know the twist at the end of Shattered Memories.
I don't.
I will not be the one to spoil it for you. I think it's really, really well.
Oh, do it. I'll do it later.
Huh? I think it's fascinating, and it totally caught me off guard the first time that I played it. But I thought it was cool. That ends again. That game has some of the best credit songs. I don't know if this is going to be controversial, Stevie.
Hang on, let me get a real scooting in my chair. I'm ready.
There's another Silent Hill game that I would kind of go to bat for, and I would try to defend.
Right. Yep.
It's not Homecoming.
Yep.
I actually like Downpour.
I like that you like it. I mean that genuinely. I like that you can see something in something I think is fucking dog nerds, but I want to know why you love it. Hopefully that I can glean something out of it rather than me just going, ooh, caca, no good.
So, it's a messy game. Again, I think the writing is the best part of it. And I think one of the most interesting things that Downpour does is that it is a game that is not about the character that you're playing as. It is all about... Why can't I think of her name right now? The cop.
Yeah, she's just cop chick.
I can't think of her name.
Girl boss.
Girl boss. Well, we'll call her girl boss. She is the main character of that. She is the character being called the Silent Hill. You are one of the tools being used along the way to make her realize something. Maybe. It depends on the ending that you get. That's the part that I've always been a little iffy on.
And that's where where my thing falls down. Like,
yeah,
I like that actually. Like, I like the reading of that. That's really enjoyable. I just can't get, not to sound like Twin Perfect. I want people to stop doing Silent Hill fucking 2. Silent Hill 2 is great, but there's other things that you can do, and it felt like way too much like, oh, there's twists and turns and ookie spookies.
Yeah.
You don't need to be that, dude. And also, you're gonna tell me that the guy who killed his kids in the same damn prison as him? You're gonna... I can accept monsters, but I can't make that leap of faith.
Well, that was why he... Well, that was why he got sent to that prison, was so that he could... because he wasn't convicted originally. So Nick, for some groundwork on the game, you play as
I watched the video on it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the reason that because he got himself arrested, so he would be sent to that prison so that he could kill that guy.
And there's not a single prison administrator going, hang on a minute, just now.
Yeah.
I guess there's just like, again, sorry, everyone hold your rosaries. I'm going to talk about like where I was with Generations. I'm kind of there with Silent Hill. I've been hurt too much, so I was not really willing to suffer too much. I felt the imagery was technically really cool, but to me uninspired.
Yeah. And that's the
if
thing.
I have to see Pyramid Head's sexy fucking bod one more time, I'm gonna shoot myself with a gun in Minecraft.
At least in Downpour, I think that it was there like in a tasteful way.
And I honestly think it being on the Vita, because I played it on Vita rather than PlayStation 2.
Oh, okay.
Again, the lower fidelity helps for the spookies. I think having too high a rendered thing for horror just does not help it, because you make all these beautiful character models and environments and you want to light them. Turn the damn light off. I don't want to see it.
Downpour is an ugly game. It does not look good.
What do you mean? Murphy's fishy lips.
I think it is
Murphy's beautiful fishy lips, and he's never touched a shampoo.
I think it is the backwash of an entire console generation. It is.
It's the runt of the litter. They were going to take him out the back for the barn, but they didn't even have the heart to do that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I think that the Pyramid Head inclusion in that one is fun, if only because it is in the joke ending. Whereas like in Homecoming, god damn it. Whereas in Homecoming, it's a Homecoming is a list of like somebody was handed a copy of the movie and was like, hey, here's this franchise. I need you to make a game based on these.
He's the second Frenchman I will fight.
Yeah, I feel like I think Silent Hill, the first film, is a good movie. I don't think it's a good representation of the franchise it's adapting. if it was completely separate from the franchise that it's tied to, if it had a completely different name, solid. But it is tied to a franchise, and it completely disregards, like, making Dahlia Gillespie a sympathetic character is the most batshit insane decision.
Which ruins the horror. Like, if it was a mother doing that to her door, that's so much more horrific. You declawed the horror, which is weird.
And did they, like, essentially replace, like, who her original character was, but with Claudia?
Yeah, essentially. And it's like, stuff happened to Claudia is really quite heartbreaking and awful. Like,
yeah.
Like, why are you declawing the horror when it's right there? It's just a game.
It really does. it really does feel. I will say, seeing Bloober's work on the Silent Hill 2 remake, I would love to see them work on an original project, like within Silent Hill. I think that they understand how to pace out the, like, capturing that atmosphere of Silent Hill. I don't want them to write it, because not a great track record in that area.
I'd be a bit hesitant. I've still not seen anyone handle the IP correctly from my point of view, which is, again, we're just doing, let's do Silent Hill 2.03.4.5.
That's
when I want to see other things going on there, because me on my one little hill dying here, I think 4 is really interesting, and it takes you out of Silent Hill, explores a different part of that horror while still having a very human aspect if you don't really jive completely with the cult stuff. But like a little boy searching for a mother and being warped by this lack of human connection is really interesting, and I kind of want to see more human tells just told that way in this world.
And that game is also another great example as to why you do not make Dahlia Gillespie a sympathetic character.
No, and also honestly, I love those ghosts in that game. They frighten the crap out of me. A trailer has never frightened me as much as that Silent Hill 4 trailer.
Yeah, I haven't touched that game because that's going to be the one that's going to actually creep me out.
That one is that one's scary.
The way they move is just horrific. Like, I get it when people say they're frustrating.
Yeah,
but I feel like it earns it because it's so, like, amped the anxiety of these fucking ghosts.
Well, they are frustrating, but they are also, like, I think even for good reasons, like, they're probably one of the most memorable elements of the game. It's why, like, the vinyl, like, that artist you really like, they did one of the ghosts, like, getting pinned down by the sword.
Yeah. And I really like that the ghosts that you meet within the game, because you meet them as humans before they get killed. Yeah. Like, they all have a really unique way of moving. Like, I can't remember her name. She getting kind of like pulled by her hair. A guy gets killed by electrocution. He jutters and glitches, and I don't do well with glitchy horror. Yeah. That frightens me a lot.
I think my defense for like Bloober is mostly in that what I've seen, they really handled, again, like, atmosphere, but the thing that I've been the most impressed with is the new puzzles and, like, actually traversing the dungeons. I feel like
I've not heard anything about that. That's really perked my little ears up. I'm really interested.
Oh, the puzzles are fun. There were a couple of I think there was one in the apartments, and then there was one in the hospital where I got giddy.
There's one in the
Oh yeah, that was the one the other day, right?
I thought I was being so smart. I was not.
There was a
coin puzzle.
Was it the coin puzzle?
Yeah, it was the coin puzzle.
There was there's a puzzle in the hospital that, like, I got a little giddy when, like, I started, like, piecing it together. I was just like, oh, that's super fun. I like that. Yeah.
We got to talk about the hospital from Silent Hill 3. Stanley Coleman. He sucks so much. I love Stanley. Oh, Stanley, you haunt me. I love you, Stanley. You're horrific.
I was talking with a buddy because he was like he's playing the Silent Hill games for the first time, and
oh, the lucky dog.
That son of a gun has a copy of 3, and I don't, and I hate him for it. And he hasn't played it yet, but I know, and he was just like, I was going back over Silent Hill 2, and at the beginning, James is like looking at himself in the mirror, and I'm just like, wow, they could do that with a mirror on the PS2, and I was just like, yeah, you wait till 3, buddy.
Oh God, yeah.
I know what you're referencing.
Room.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
What you're referencing.
Haunting.
Like I can't wait to play 3 with you, Nick, so you can meet Stanley.
Also,
Because-
so you can meet like
The
one of
female
the
fear factor is so sucky.
dude. Also, like Heather's just a great pro tag.
She's great, and I'm gonna again. Let me get on my steppy stool. I love the original voice cast for 3. I don't like how they redid it with anime voice cast for the remake because I love the one line delivery Heather says at the end of the game, which is "shut your mouth, bitch," and she says it so good, and she puts so much stink on the bitch bit. I'm like, yay!
Oh my god.
It was kind of funny. The pizza line is not in the remake.
It's not.
Not in the way that it originally was. Because you have to voluntarily go to that bowling alley.
I've never turned down an opportunity to see Eddie, my best friend Eddie.
Oh, he's still there. They put him in a new place and in a new context, and I feel like it almost made him a little creepier. There's a great interaction that they kind of replaced that line with. It's why I'm just like, I wish everybody would just play both, because like I think that they're both good, and I really like the new take that they had on the scene. And there's something about the delivery with it, because Nick, you've seen the pizza line, right?
I think we got to it yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, I watched a dude eat pizza.
Yeah. How could he? How could he just sit there and eat pizza? This town is full of monsters.
Pizza. We need to get that for you as a shirt.
I would take it.
Weenie shirt.
In the remake, do you guys mind just kind of like the context that they added to that? Because I won't say it if you'd rather not.
I'm good. Up to you, Nick.
I'm good.
There's it takes place in an abandoned movie theater, and Eddie is there with like a bucket of ice cream, and he's just scooping it out like with his hand and just like slurping it up.
Oh.
And James does pick
Shark
up.
Week, am I right, ladies? Woof.
James does pick up a pizza box, and he says something to the effect of like, "Oh, well, good to see you get your appetite back." And Eddie doesn't respond. He just gives James a look. And it's just like, if looks could kill, holy shit. Really well executed. But I just found the other day, if you go to that bowling alley, because you can find it, if you go to the bowling alley, the pizza box is there. Mm-hmm. And then he says it just kind of out under his breath. He's just like, this town is full of monsters. How could somebody just sit here and eat pizza? And so it's like,
I have anxiety. I have a stress release.
It's there. It's a cute little nod, but I kind of like, they weren't gonna top the delivery, so I kind of get why they would want to just change it to like a little Easter egg instead.
Yeah, I think you brought up a good point, though. I feel like if you're going to play a remake of something, you should play the original just so you can see context and why maybe things changed, and
Yeah,
I think so. You get the whole of the experience.
There's because there's a few things like that where they kind of remix like where certain things even take place and how exactly they go about. It's not to the level of like say the Final Fantasy VII remakes where they're just doing something else entirely a lot of the time. But I was also pleased to see that there's there's a new Angela scene that to my knowledge wasn't in the original at all, and I thought it was well done. So I'm like, sorry, I'm talking about that damn remake again.
No,
I'm in the middle
really
of playing
looking forward to having our second kind of chat about this. I'm really looking forward to it.
We did have like an actual topic we were getting. Right, horror games. Yeah, I like Silent Hill 1 a lot. I think that game is really good. Another, because I would also kind of say Bloodborne, if I can count that.
I
as a
would
horror
say
game.
Bloodborne. I think it's too horrific not to.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, I jaw jump scared.
Sorry. I just had to shove my dog. She just keeps jumping on me.
I've got a couple of more horror games in the bucket list that I really want to sit down and play. Like I recently picked up the Dreamcast copy of Dino Crisis, so I need to play that.
Yay!
And
We're never getting a new one.
I know. We picked. I did pick up Hollow Body, and I was trying to stream it the other night, and my computer crashed twice while I was trying to stream it. And I did not know what was going on, and I didn't know if it was the game. I didn't think so because I didn't see anybody else reporting that issue. But I did check because I gave up on streaming it that night. I was just like, I can't do this right now. But my graphics card was outdated, so I tried updating it after that, and hopefully that'll fix the issue because I'd like to pick that one up again because I did enjoy what I played.
I need to play it properly. I backed it as a Kickstarter because the guy is kind of based in my hometown, like Bristol in the UK. So I was like, I'm really interested. And I think one of the back rewards, if you had enough, was going to be a recreation of the old shopping mall that's getting closed down. So I was like, I'll back this. But
that's super cool.
The dev is super on it. I really want to sit down and play it. But I got kind of sucked into Crow Country. And that's such a delightful time.
I want to play that one too. I did start Hollow Body. Just to make your teeth itch, Nick, there is a tank control option, and I turned that on immediately.
Of course you did.
You're built stronger.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. It just fits the vibe, man. I would say if I had to pick like a third like just favorite horror game, this is gonna be such a basic answer. The GameCube remake of Resident Evil 1. Oh my god, it's so good.
I don't care if it's basic. It's a fantastic remake.
It's
Lisa
one of the,
Trevor, I love you.
It's one of the best games I've ever played. It's so well done.
It's great. I kind of want to return to those kind of pre-rendered like backgrounds like that because I think it's done so excellent with that kind of like with the lighting that they kind of developed for it, like the interactive lighting at the same time. Beautiful game, wonderful game.
Another one. This isn't going on my list, but just kind of like before we get into the topic, because I don't want to take up too much of you guys' day today. We've already been at this for like 2 hours.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But before we got into like our main little gimmick, I was gonna kind of bullet point a couple of other horror games that like I'm looking forward to that I would like to try soon. One's already out. That one is Signalis. Yes,
beautiful art direction.
What is
I had it on Game Pass. I haven't got through it yet. I don't know how to describe it.
So from what I'm seeing, it's kind of like cyberpunky. Like it does kind of have a lot of those same trappings. I haven't played it yet. It just looks fascinating. Very cyberpunky, very like classic Resident Evil 1 style horror. And I mean, it obviously gets a lot of attention in the LGBT community, just because, like, you know, the lesbian love interests as the leads, which you know,
Lebanese food.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna shut up. I have a condition. Sorry.
What?
I don't know. I hear someone. I gotta say something stupid like Lebanese food.
Lebanese food.
It just comes out. Like, it just happens to me.
But there was another one that I'm like super interested in that like shoot, if I can find the name of it again. Oh, what's the name of it? I think it's from the same publisher as Valhalla, which, Nick, you know I'm obsessed with that game.
Oh yeah.
Which, Stevie, if you've not played Valhalla, I highly recommend it. That's not a horror game.
No, one of my dev friends when I was working back on Everwild, they were really into it. I played it for a minute. I got attacked by a boar and I went, I need to go make a cheese toasty. I can't be dealing with this just now. I really want to give it an earnest try. You got
attacked by a boar?
I think so, yeah.
We might be talking about different games.
What did I play? What did I dream? Maybe I dreamt this game.
Valhalla, the one I'm talking about, is a cyberpunk bartender simulator.
Oh, I'm thinking of a PlayStation 1 graphic thing. That's like a survival. It's weird. Tell me about your one.
It's a visual novel for the most part, but it has some interactive elements of like, you know, you are a bartender in this like cyberpunk society, and you don't really leave the bar of Valhalla, and so what you learn about the world and what's going on in it, and kind of like the history of the city and everything, is through the people that come in. And
that sounds super interesting.
Yeah, and you hear more from them depending on like how friendly they become with you. The better, the better you mix drinks, the more attached you become to people. The more you learn about yourself and the world around you. It's really good.
It.
I also love the music. The music's fantastic.
I'll absolutely be checking that out. That seems very my jam.
Yeah. The one I was gonna say though, like I gotta see if I can figure out what the name of it was. I think it's the same publisher. Is working on a horror game inspired by Parasite Eve.
Oh.
Yeah.
Or feminine horror.
and I
women.
can't think of the name of it. And I think it was the same publisher as Valhalla.
Women.
What?
Tip tap. Sorry, we both have a condition.
is that Pup? Is Pup in here?
Don't say his name again. I don't know if you've played this one, Wayne. Not to derail you right now, but it's come into my brain. You've got me on thinking about weirder ones.
Well, this is suggestion territory.
Oh, you bloody lovely you. And I don't know if you agree with me, Nick. I want to know what you think. What do you think about Inscription? I would kind of class as a horror.
The little bit I played, I definitely would give it a horror vibe. Absolutely.
It definitely has a kind of... I'm not saying it is like Crow
You're
Country.
in a cabin in with the woods and you can't see the face of something that's got creepy swirly eyes. That makes you play a game. If you lose, you die.
And you have to rip your teeth out to stand a chance sometimes. Oh, and you have to sacrifice the little animal cards. Yeah, I would highly recommend Inscription. That's a really great game. Dan Mullins, like he did Pony Island.
That sounds familiar.
It's well worth a game. I'd love to see what you think of it, Wayne.
Oh, sure. I've been meaning to get more of this stuff under my belt, so...
It's great. It takes some twists and turns, and I'm not going to spoil anything, because, yeah, we need to finish it. But it was like my game of the year when it came out. I loved it.
Well, Nick, did you have any recommendations for games upcoming or ones that you're interested in?
Well, I mean, we're talking horror right now?
Primarily.
Let's see here. I just grabbed my Switch. I'm trying to remember these weird
Congrats.
little games. Well, I don't know if it's a full-on recommendation, because something I've been doing recently is just picking up a bunch of games and testing them out, see if I'm going to keep them or not, because I've got way too many games I pick up from thrift stores and stuff like that, and I'm finally trying them out, and there are some games that I'm actually kind of starting to vibe with a little bit, and I wasn't expecting to. Have you ever heard of Vampire?
Yes, I've heard of it.
I kind of like what it's going for. It's a little bit of an action-adventure game just with vampires. I've not gotten too far into it, but it's grabbing me. Okay. And I'm hoping it's a good game. I don't know if it is or not yet. What else have I recently tried? I'm trying to remember here. You download store? No. All software? You download software. I'm gonna click on that. It's this old boomer shooter. And I'm trying to remember what it's called. It's recently released. By recently, I mean like a couple years ago. What is it called? Honestly, there's just been a few games I've just grabbed for a couple bucks on the Switch store that were really interesting to me. There was one called, what's it called here? Fatum Batula, which kind of reminded me of LSD, the PS1 game. That's almost like a horror game in a weird kind of way.
Yeah.
I'd say so. I'd say like Yumeniki is a horror game. Makes you feel unsettled.
For sure.
I did want to point out. I found the name of that game I was thinking of, the one inspired by Parasite Eve. Yeah. So I don't think it's the same publisher. It's made by the same creators as Valhalla. It's a .45 Parabellum Bloodhound.
Oh, love anything saying Parabellum.
It looks awesome. I will link you to it, Stevie. It looks very cool. Like fixed camera angles, like that kind of like grungy, like pre-rendered background kind of look.
Love it. Yeah,
And-
that's right up my street.
Yeah, and when is the last time you could think of a game like trying to adapt the same combat style as Parasite Eve?
I can, dude.
Yeah. Also, that's another one I would recommend, Parasite Eve.
Yeah.
Parasite Eve is great.
Oh, Nick, what was that one that we liked? It's like kind of, was it a Sega Saturn game?
What happened in it?
It's just like very, very creepy, weird kind of like art style. Kind of like set like a dungeon crawl. It was 3D. I'm pretty sure Ragnarok has spoken about it. I don't think.
Hang on. I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about, and the name is escaping me. It was re-released on the Wii, right?
I think it was. Yes.
I think it just recently got
I'm not a big gamer girl.
localization. Let me look it up. I know about Deep Fear. No, thank you. I know about D.
Also, I really want to go play the latest thing from what's it? The Dear Esther remakes. Dear Esther, the Chinese Room. Why Still Wakes the Deep? Like Wakes the Deep. I really want to have a look at that game.
What is was it
Alliance.
Enemy Zero? Was it?
No. Man, I know exactly what you're talking about. I own the damn game. What is it? It's in a box somewhere. I'm going.
First one to think of it wins.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna type in Sega Saturn V
Silent Hill.
remake.
Sorry, I know. Sorry, I'm
Knights.
talking too
It
much.
starts with the B. Baroque.
Baroque,
sake.
that's it.
There we go.
He knows peace.
Baroque is not a game I have ever played, but the general aesthetic is something I've always wanted to try. They recently localized it, and I have to play it.
Oh, totally.
But yes, it was remade for the Wii. That did get an English release. I do think I own that. I could be wrong. I'm still unpacking everything. But Baroque, for the general aesthetic there, I don't know. Like, I'll be honest with you. Like, a lot of the actual horror games I want to play these days, I don't know the names of them, but it is mostly, if it's not Puppet Combo, it's the, and I should see if it's out now, but like the Haunted PS1 demo disc. The set of demos that.
Thanks for reminding me of
indie
that,
devs.
because I need to link a friend to that actually.
I want to see if they're doing anything as of recently.
Need to finish Shadow Man too. Just speaking.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Haunted PS1, Irish independent developer, I don't know that name, initially established Haunted PS1 on itch.io in 2018. Hackett stated the desire to establish Haunted PS1 was influeed by the absence of a community for independent developers at the time, stating there's a whole load of horror games to be made, but very little community around it. Hackett initially created the community as a Discord server to talk and collaborate with a few developers working on low-res horror games. I just want to be able to talk to other developers, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, it started with a Haunted PS1 jam, encouraging spooky and low-res entries, and then it expanded from the years on afterwards. I don't think they've done anything for this year, which is a damn shame. I played it a few years ago. Yeah. So I think the last time I played it was the Haunted PS1 Demo Disc 2022, the Spectral Mall. The demos are worth your time, and if not just the demos, they also do something I desperately miss from the days of Namco Museum and Sonic Jam, is they give you a fun hub to explore all this stuff and to interact with these things. So all of that stuff is free. I would highly, highly, highly recommend, if nobody's checked this stuff out, go check it out for yourself. It looks like the last one was the Madvent Calendar 4 End of the Line in December 2023. I'm just going off a wiki page. I don't know the overall history. I just know I tried it one year and I fell deeply in love with the concept of it. I think Puppet Combo has kind of expanded off from there, and I think low-res horror is getting the attention it deserves more nowadays. I think it's only just going to elevate from here. But Haunted PS1 Demo Disc was definitely what kind of caught my eye with that stuff initially back in either 2021 or 2022. So there we go.
Okay.
That's my recommendation.
Yeah, that's again. We have run this fairly long. I didn't know how much more time you guys had on you today.
Not too much, if I'm real with you.
Yeah, the original idea was to like take a bunch of concepts or like mechanics from our favorite horror games and try to like Frankenstein them together into like one game that would use all of them. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if we would really have the time to kind of get into all of that today.
The only thing that matters is that I would have the mind map from Pathologic 2, because it's the best way to ever note down any notes in a game ever. That's the only thing that matters.
The mind map?
I'm telling you, pick up Pathologic 2 just for the mind map. It's really smart.
Now, would you recommend playing Pathologic 1 before tackling Pathologic 2?
I'm kind of in H-Bomb's seat of just play 2, just because it's better you experience it rather than try to go through Euro jank trash.
Fair
It's
enough.
a great game, but oh, it's hard. 2's great.
Well, hey, I do super appreciate you guys coming on to join me for the first of these shows here today. I guess one last recommendation request. Now, you might not have anything for this. It doesn't have to necessarily fall into the line of alcohol, but this being a bar, I thought it a fun thing to do while having guests in here. Do you have a recommended drink?
Yeah.
I don't really mess with alcohol, so no, I don't.
I kind of figured not, Nick. But like, I don't know. Hey, got a favorite soda? Or like some kind of drink that you picked up from a gas station that you thought was pretty good that you'd recommend more people try?
Not really.
Root beer surge, and he loves abstinence.
I'll say this. I don't usually go to A&W's because they're not normally around, and they're just like, well, why would I bother? It's basic food. But I will say, if you buy one and you want a sody pop, actually order the root beer. Their fountain root beer is so much creamier and tastier.
It's in that big chilled mug too.
It's, I guess, I just went through a drive-through last time I got it. But yeah, order it without ice. I almost said glass.
Order without the glass. Just give it
like a dog.
Give it to you in a bag.
Yep.
Well, Stevie, it sounded like you had something in mind.
Mine is I have two, but I'll give you the one that's my own concoction, which is the Jimmy Buffett. So you want grenadine, pomegranate grenadine. You want to have a splash of that. Then you want to have coconut rum, probably Malibu, because we gotta make this a cheap drink, with orange juice. So then you kind of sunset, and that's your Jimmy Buffett.
Ooh.
You know what? It is Halloween season. I'm gonna recommend spiced cider.
There you go, attaboy.
There we go. Just had a little bit last night. It smells like potpourri, but it's kind of nice.
Well, my drink recommendation for today, for any of my bourbon lovers out there, is I'm going to recommend a Copper Fox single malt. That is a whiskey. The fun little gimmick with these guys is, they're not too terribly far from me. Their distillery is in Williamsburg, Virginia. And they actually, this stuff is distilled in like a malt mash, and it's finished with toasted apple wood and oak. They have an apple wood variant and a peach wood variant. The peach wood is delightful. Highly recommended. It's good for a shot, but I would also recommend it on the rocks.
Well, thank you. You've been nothing but a wonderful barkeep.
Just as I was, we were just done talking about this. I was just on Twitter. Low poly depression. Love that profile. Just posted 3 hours ago. Sniper Killer, a PS1-esque game by Lego My Giallo and Puppet Combo about a cryptic serial killer and an obsessed detective, just released. So there you go. There's a brand new low poly game that just came out. This looks really fun. If I'm honest. I mean, you guys touched on it a little bit ago. Just the horror of knowing that something is out there and it's slowly coming for you. Think of It Follows, or just how human beings hunted and it's just fascinating to me. I like that kind of stuff, like just out there somewhere there's danger.
Yeah.
Let's take this time.
I gotta go to bed in a minute. That's gonna be spooky now.
Well,
I don't think Sniper Killer is exactly that, but it just made me think of it. I don't know why.
well, before I keep you all too much longer, again, I do apologize for the complete lack of structure that has been present today. This is my first time trying to host one of these by myself. So
That was fun.
I guess lastly, either of you is where can we find you and what are you currently working on?
Well, I am working on Sonic stuff constantly.
I'm sorry.
I sent Pup a video to edit a few days ago, but he's been sick. So hopefully the last bit of my Shadow Dark Beginnings review will finally be out. Outside of that, got some stuff leading up to the release of Shadow Generations, and when Shadow Generations drops, I will, of course, be doing a big, fun analysis of all that nonsense. But yeah, just find me on GameApologist if you're interested in any of that. Or, hey, Sonic's not your thing. It is a bit older, but I do have some other stuff. If I had to recommend anything for this year, or the season, I guess, I did a Medieval 2 video, and I did a video about Night Trap. So,
Oh, fun.
More feminine bars.
Yep. So there you go.
And Stevie?
I'm on the internet.
Oh, yep.
I'm on the internet. You can find my Twitter to then not follow me on Twitter because that place is bummer. You can grab my card. You can find me on my art blog on Tumblr or Bluesky, where I think I'm Stevie Joy Cole everywhere. If not, I'm Haruspex Hair. What I'm working on is my day job working on video games. Otherwise, I'm drawing Sonic in my spare time.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Thank you both so much for joining us today. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in and listening. This should be going live within the next couple of days for Patreon supporters. And we'll figure out where else it's going and in what way after that. And I will catch you all later. See you next mission.